Hey, how's it going, everyone? Justin again. As always, thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Cheers to those of you that have your beers. I hope you're enjoying your work week. We are past Wednesday, hump day. Not gonna lie, I'm looking forward to the end of the week. That being said, I wanted to answer this viewer's question, but I really wanted to spend some time thinking about it because I hadn't really thought about it, too much in the past. Of course, there's a handful of vehicles that I would like to own that are more realistic, but they have slightly higher expectations than what it is that I currently have. We always try to, strive to get to the next level in life, whether it's buying something or whatever, as far as material stuff. I think anyone that ever goes through life that started off rough and poor obviously would like to get to the next level and have something a little bit nicer. And so you get something a little bit nicer and then you move to the next step until you can afford even a little bit nicer. And as the years progress, those vehicles that used to cost a lot more, that were way out of your price range, are now down at a more realistic level. So I kind of broke this down into two different categories, really. It's a top 10 list, but really it's split up between 5 and 5. The 5 most unrealistic, most exotic cars that I could think of that I would like to own, and then my top 5 most realistic vehicles that are either currently within my affordability or are the next step. So with that being said, let's just dive right into it. Let's start off with the exotics and then we'll go to the realistic platform. But number 1, the first vehicle that came to mind when he asked me, hey, which cars and what order would you want to own if money wasn't an option, kind of a thing. First car up, 1967 Shelby GT500, baby. Eleanor. Would love to have one. Oh my God, the fastback, that gone in 60 seconds. That's like my dream car, man. If there was ever like one car, whether realistic or not, that I could own in almost any condition, even if I could find it and someone was getting rid of completely smashed up one for $1,000, I would come up with $1,000 and slowly but surely over time would fix it up. But I would love to have an Eleanor of my own. So that's definitely my number 1. Number 2 for the exotics. So I have to go with the more modern year. But I was actually looking at this car, just looking at it, not wanting to buy it, but really wanted to own it. I just knew it was way out of my price range because I think it was like $80,000 or $90,000. But it's the new Chevy Stingray. So a couple years back when I was looking at cars, I was just looking at it, and it was like the 2017 model. But looking at the 2019 Chevy Stingrays, they look just as hot, man. I mean, that is hot as a redhead in a red skirt. I mean, I don't know. Any rate, so I was looking at those and I was like, man, that's nice, man. That is nice. I would love to own one of the new Chevy Stingrays. Number 3 for the exotic. So this goes back when I was a kid. I think there's a couple of cars that I have on here from when I was a kid that I would love to own, just for the sheer fact of owning, if money wasn't an option, would be the 1985 DMC DeLorean. Back to the Future, man. That was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid, and in fact we just saw one at the Air Museum, and I'll put a couple of cards down here to the one that I saw off Google plus the one that we actually saw in person. But I just saw this last weekend. I was like, man, wouldn't it be something else to own that? For my next exotic car, I guess my number 4 for exotics would be a 1985 Lamborghini Countach, or Diablo. Man, that car is sick. When I was a kid, I had the little Hot Wheels version. I loved that thing. Man, that thing was like my favorite car, and I was like, one day I'm going to own one, and I'm going to own this one in particular. So that was one of my, it had to go on the list. Had to. Number 5 coming in, 1940 Ford Coupe. I just think it has this like Dick Tracy kind of look to it, and I just think it would be so cool to have one of those, even if it didn't run and all I could do was look at it. I mean, I'd get it running for sure, but I mean, even if it was just for looks and it was something that I could sit there and look at and admire, man, that is a cool looking car. All right, now we're going to move on to the 5 more realistic vehicles that I was thinking about or wanting. 2017 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon. the year that I left Chrysler, it has a monumental kind of pivotal point in my life when I left the dealership realm and went to the independent realm, and I'd like to own that one specifically for that reason. I think it would add to the history of not only my career and profession, my love for Jeeps, but overall it's the one that I want. So that has to go at number one. Number two, it'd be nice to have a 2001 Jeep Cherokee Sport, which I actually used to own. It was my first Jeep that I ever purchased, and I would purchase it again. Now, this comes from another movie favorite of mine, which is The Goonies, and I've always considered myself a Goonie at heart, so I would love to have this particular vehicle. Now, I know that The Goonies came out well before the 2001 Jeep Cherokee Sport, but needless to say, it was my first Jeep, and I loved the Jeep because it had that kind of, that image came in my head when I was thinking of Jeep Cherokee Sport. The movie Goonies just came to my head, and I loved that thing, man. I had it. I think I had over 300,000 miles on it when I sold it. Next vehicle that I have would be the 2014 Chevy 2500 with utility bed. I think this because it's more of a realistic, again, me having some roofing background, would like to keep my roofing business going. I want a utility bed. I want the king cab kind of set up so the kids can still fit in the back if I need to use it for an A to B. It's just something that I really wanted to own, and I've wanted one of those utility or those harbor beds for a long time. Number four, 2019 Ford F-250 Ford Lariat Sport Package. This thing just looks cool, man. It looks sick. It looks duty. And I think they went with the Cummins engine, if I'm not mistaken. My Ford guys out there can jump on that and let me know. My number five for most realistic vehicles that I would like to own would be the 2019 Chevy Suburban. I told the wife if we ever get caught up on everything and pay everything off, I will buy her a brand new Chevy Suburban, whatever year that ends up being. It will be brand new. No one will even have more than maybe 5 miles on it, and it'll be a fresh PDI for her. So that's my goal. So most realistically, of the 5 realistic cars that I'll own, there's a couple in there that I could potentially own before some of the other ones, but the overall goal would probably be my number 5 pick, which is the Bourbon for the wife. So that's all I got for this video. If you guys agree with me, let me know down in the comments. If you disagree with me, hey, what are your top 5 most realistic, top 5 exotics? I'm sure we would like to know. Thanks as always for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Deuces.